All right, so now I've adjusted my installation here. I took out the pieces of trim, so I was able to mount it. Get that in focus. Able to mount it here. Now, ideally, you want to mount it in here, but if I would have done that, you can see the height of this screen is too tall. So I don't know if I ordered the wrong one or they just don't make it in for these shorter doors. But up here, this would need to be on the touching here. And this guy here, the very top edge, would need to be under this edge, but you can see it's too tall for that because see, I had to leave a gap here. So if I took this off and mounted it in closer, this screen door would be too tall. So I've gotten by, and the good news is now this lip is sitting on the metal under here. So it's sitting on there, and although it has that steep slant that I was talking about, you can see here it just curves upwards instead of what would be preferred is down to let the water run off. So it curves upwards, but having this piece pushed down that way actually locks it into here, so this can't pull off anymore. Can't pull forwards towards me and away from the door, so it can't get loose. Now it does present somewhat of a tripping hazard now, so you're gonna wanna step all the way in or step all the way out. See that angle there? So now we're forcing any water that comes down this way and gets in this groove. It has to run along here and run out down here into the track, which will bring dirt with it. Or in my case, I've left a little gap there under the trim. It can go out that way. Otherwise, it would build up in this track and either come in here and get under here or come up to the door. So if we had a really heavy rain, if this was a side where the wind really blew on, I probably wouldn't want this, or I'd need to cut some holes in here, some notches, so that the water could actually drain that way and go out and underneath. But even so, it doesn't really work, because once it drained under this surface, it would hit the edge of this and then want to run along underneath there out this way again. And that's way, if you ever have these guys that seem to be kind of sticking and not working well, check down in the tracks there for sand. Even, you know, ants and bugs and things can bring up sand. That's what I found on customers of mine. And clean that all out, spray some WD-40, lube it up a little bit, and should be back in working order. So I'm happy with this. There's a little gap for bugs, but we're mostly trying to block flying mosquitoes, so I'm not too worried about them finding those little holes. And this is on here more solid. Now, one other thing I want to point out is there isn't really, see, this is loose, it can come away, and it's only held in by the sides. So it would have been great if they had some sort of angle piece that you could, or a screw you could put through here into your trim to hold that to be a little more steady. Then it wouldn't make that noise either. See how that can come out? And it'd make the whole thing seem a little more solid. So little improvements. It's you know, they have to have something sliding in here, so you can't have a screw going through this way. But perhaps there's a way to incorporate some kind of bracket in the top, even Z-shaped bracket that would go up, over, and up, and screw it in that way. It would hold that in a little tighter. Would be nice. I ordered 2 of these doors because the first one came in the wrong color and it was damaged. They have these really flimsy pieces that are opposite these. They're on the back side that this bar should slide into, and those were broken on the first set completely, and even the bottom was broken. And this second set I ordered, both of the bottom ones were broken off. Now it says be very careful with those, that you don't break them, because they know it's a common problem, and when you call in they'll send you new ones, a whole new end cap, but it's up to you to figure out how to get that on and wind up the spring and so forth. So I went ahead and installed it without waiting for those new pieces, and it works just fine. But that's one major downfall of the Anderson. Now, looks like I'm getting some scratch in there. One thing I wanted to note, if you find your screen is not opening either side, okay, now on this one it'll only happen from the inside, but on this one as well, if you reach around here and you're pushing this lever and this thing will just not release, make sure to check these tiny little locks right here. So if that's pushed in at all that way, even a halfway, it can keep you from being able to release that and click it out. And that happened to us initially on this one, and I wasn't exactly sure what was happening, but it turned out to be that little lock in there was locked, and so this couldn't move up and down. And that's obviously on purpose, a little security latch, but you know, easy to forget since it's such a small little piece there. So those are my tips and tricks for installing these things and what I've learned. I've been working on the phantom doors lately, the phantom screen doors with some customers, and then I have another customer who's ordered another one of these in a different brand that was also from Home Depot. So we'll see how the part quality is on that and how the installation goes. But I need to now cut my trim because my trim no longer fits here. So I'll need to cut that and just rip it down a little so it fits, and then caulk everything in. And the same goes for the top. So then I'll be ready to finish this up and paint the rest of my office here.